Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Command Time with Kayla, DT, and Caleb. And look, just got a little bit of breaking news so far. We're going to get in touch with that. But this is the NFL Combine recap show with our special guest, Bill Carroll of HBCU Scouting. This is Command Time with Kayla, DT, and Caleb, presented by the Fans First Sports Network. We're going to kick it off right now.
3, 2, 1, yeah, we ready right now.
It's about time. I know it's about time. It's about time.
What's up, everybody? This is the Command Time podcast presented by Fans First Sports Network. We got the crew tonight. We got some news that kind of broke out a little bit. So, for those that did not know, this was the franchise tag deadline today. A couple of signings and stuff, but it hits home for Washington as it seems to be one of our players. Tweeted out a sublime message. Obviously, they decided they wasn't going to do the franchise tag nor this season, but it's looking like Cam Carroll, more than likely, it's not official, but more than likely Cam Carroll is going to be testing free agency this fall season. So before we get started with this is developing news pretty much, guys. So Kayla, we're going to start with you. So what are your thoughts about the possibility of Cam Carroll heading out to free agency and not getting the deal done?
How do you think? Oh man, I'm upset. No. Look, man, I wanted him back here, but at the end of the day, it's okay. It's all right. He ain't. We all know he's not an elite player. He's not an elite safety. He's a really good safety. I still think he's underrated in the league, but I ain't gonna overpay for you either. I ain't gonna give you 13, 14, 15 mil. I ain't doing it. But this free agency class for safeties pretty deep. Because Xavier McKinney's testing free agency, Jamal Adams, like we saw today, Quandre Diggs, Cam Crow's out there. There's other people out there too, and they're all young, regularly young.
Duggar's out there.
Yeah, Kyle Duggar's out there too. So,
well, he got tagged today, did he?
I think it's the one with the tag for them to trade. I think it's that.
So it's not
doing that.
Yeah, I was gonna buy a jersey if he was gonna get re-signed. I don't. This is why I don't buy jerseys, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I don't buy them a lot, because of this, and it sucks. I'm mad, but I'm not mad at the same time. But it is what it is. We move. Quan Martin got to step up. So, yeah, it sucks.
So basically, when I got the news, kind of knew it was probably. I was trying to be optimistic about it, but I knew it probably was going to end up being like that. It sucks that Cam Carroll was drafted in the 7th round, even though it was like a piece of gold for us. At the same time, your draft position also matters when you go into negotiation. They probably looking at like a 7th round pick. We could probably get somebody a little bit better. Love Cam, love the swag he built. I do hope he does well wherever he goes next. Just go out there and ball, get a few interceptions, show Washington why they should have kept you. Go out there, just ball out wherever you go. I know we will get a replacement. Will be better. This is a new era, so people are leaving left and right. So we just gotta grow with it. We gotta stand behind it, no matter the conditions. So I think we're headed in the right this direction. It definitely sucked because it's like he bought that like energy to that secondary, like that vibe was different when he was out there. Like you can tell. But I do think he's going to get paid respectfully. I just think it just wasn't here. Maybe it wasn't a scheme fit. At least we did actually try to have those negotiations with him, which sometimes players don't even get that option. They just get let go without that option of like working things out. But I do think Cam is going to ball out, and I do think wherever he goes next, he will get a few interceptions just to prove us wrong. Just good luck to Cam. You know, well, my focus now maybe is going maybe if he's there with that second round pick. If he's still there, I would grab Cam Kitchens depending on what they do in free agency. Depending on
Yeah,
what they're doing in free agency. That only depends what they do in free agency with
Go
that
go
second
ahead.
round pick.
Go ahead, DT. I was gonna piggyback on what Kayla said, but go ahead.
yeah. So I mean, we had a conversation last week, right? It was kind of the big debate around this last episode about paying Cam Curl, and I wasn't against paying Cam Curl. I just felt like in terms of the market that he saw, and the type of player, I just felt like I wasn't willing to go above 13, maybe 13, 14, 15 million range for his time. I mean, I do think he is a good player, but I think he's easily replaceable. And it sucks. It sucks. See some guys that we develop, and he was a seventh round pick. He was on that 2020 team, played with Chase Young and on a crazy defense we had. But he's been consistent. But of course, people going to nitpick on the turnovers. But to Caleb's point, when you watch him on field, he's always in the right place at the right time. And especially in 2022, when we missed a couple games without him, the defense was definitely a liability without his communication skills. And it shows the impact he had for this defense. But I will say this: if this was the old regime, he's definitely getting paid. Without a doubt, he's definitely getting paid. But this team did draft three safeties past couple of years. Derek Forrest, Percy Butler, and Paul Martin. Are they the same level of player? No, I don't think so. But I do believe that Dan Quinn and Adam Peters, they're going to trust in their evaluation. And if they let him go, it's still not official, but the writing's on the wall with that tweet. And Chuck went off today on Twitter, bro.
DT, he gone, bro.
And another thing about Cam that's underrated is his leadership. So I do hope we do find another leader in that secondary.
He's gone. I'm gonna let y'all know this right now. He's gone.
I never said he wasn't gone. I just said he was a good leader.
I know you didn't, Kayla. I'm just saying
we can't cope. That's what he's saying. We can't cope.
In general, like BT said, it's not official. He's not coming back. I'm gonna let y'all know that right now. Somebody's going to a place with a better situation for him, like the Bills, Steelers, maybe the Chiefs. Never know.
Just not the NFC East.
I doubt it, but
I can see Philly. I can see Philly doing something like that.
I mean, yeah, but they got Xavier McKinney is out there too. They can get him. It depends on who you want. Do you want a safety that's great against the run, which Cam Curl is, or do you want a safety that's very good in pass coverage? But he gone. He gone. He gone. Yeah, if Jeremy Reed is gone, yeah, that's gone. Yeah. That's
the end of an era. Like they started a whole movement. Like I think it was I forgot what it was, but it's like a group of them. It was like Trez, it was Trez, Carroll, Reeves, and from the Steelers.
Yeah.
They all it was like a new era that's just gonna be gone. They started something together, they grew together, and now it's time for them to split up.
Yeah, Kayla, I know you want Cameron Kitchens, but I'm getting a free agent safety. I'm not going to draft. If I draft one, it's going to be in the later rounds. In the second round, we need to get that tackle. We need to get that some skill
I think
position.
Curse is in play.
Who?
I think J-Ron Curse is in play a little bit.
What does he do better than Cam Carroll?
He's cheaper. That's about it.
I mean,
He knows the system.
I don't think that part really, in a sense, matters as much. He was part of a top 5 defense consistently. Now, I mean, I would say he probably get more turnovers, and he's 6'4". I mean, they both had technically that Dallas defense and Washington defense. They both kind of had similar roles for players, but Dan Quinskin was much more aggressive with the pass rush and sending guys after the quarterback and more getting turnovers than what our defense was. We let quarterbacks dictate the entire game, whether you're a backup or a practice squad player.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move forward to the next topic. This past weekend was the combine. Started off Thursday with the players in the field, ended on Sunday. So after the combine was over, what was 3 things that stood out to you guys overall about the combine?
I can go first. So really, the combine was pretty regular to me this year. I mean, it won't really nothing. I mean, outside of the young man bringing the 40-yard dash and getting the 4.21, I really wasn't like, oh my god, this combine is crazy. But what I did walk away from this is the wide receiver class and the O-line class is definitely deep this year. So it really should be no excuse for Washington not to not only address offensive line, which is one of the biggest needs, but you gotta get a receiver. I'm not really high on the guys after Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin, and especially if you're not bringing back Curtis Samuels. Now, of course, a lot of people want Curtis Samuels back. I'm not. I would love Curtis back, but I wouldn't be going crazy if they don't re-sign him. I think this wide receiver class has some guys that could help on the outside, and you could naturally put Jahan Dotson in the slot, and he can do some damage there with his route running ability. And you've seen a couple of guys that, you had some questions about, like A.D. Mitchell or, Xavier Worthy. He didn't do no catching and stuff like that, but he showed his world-class speed. But Mitchell was a guy to me that impressed. I kind of had him in the 4.4 range, but 4.35, that's literally the same time Terry McLaurin had. And, for his size, that's definitely something of interest. But the offensive line, they stole the eyes for me. Plentiful offensive lineman. Troy Fatanu looked great. Hufunga looked great. The kid from BYU, I did not know that was Sine Poole's cousin. So that's something I'm going to go back and look at his tape as well. But we're definitely going to get some offensive linemen this year. And probably the last thing I'll say is the running backs. There are a couple of running backs that would intrigue me in terms of third down. Getting a guy that can replicate some passing plays and stuff like that. So probably day 3 is something to look at. I like a guy like Blake Watson from Memphis, Imani Bailey from TCU, guys that kind of played in that air raid type system. So it might be a little bit of a good transition for them if they come in this Kingsbury offense.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. The draft this year to me was But what impressed me was the old linemen. There's a lot of offensive linemen that you just shouldn't move at that size. A lot of them were like that. The dude from Wyoming, forgot his name. Blonde hair, that boy was moving. He was moving.
Coker?
Yeah, he was guard. He needed to play guard. Get him out in space. Be a mauler. That's what I need. Need to get him. Like the guy you said, DT Panay Sewell's cousin. I forgot his name. The BYU
Kingsley.
guy.
I know it's Kingsley.
Yeah, him too. You got Patrick Paul, who had a huge day. Also, I don't know if y'all saw that video of Blake Corum having the same amount of reps as Joe Alt. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's ridiculous. Also, looking at the receiver position, give me Xavier Legette on this team. Give me Xavier Leggett. Yeah, y'all know I've always reiterated in spaces and even to y'all on this in this thing that in this group thing that we do that we need a receiver that can do multiple things. We need a receiver room that can do multiple things. Terry's your deep threat. He can be a physical guy. You got that. Terry is a guy. He can do a little bit of it all. It's a little bit of it all. Route runner. He can go up and get it. Jump ball receiver. Deep threat. His specialty is a goal ball. You can't press him. You got Jahan, who's a route runner too, slot guy that's shifty, got some burst to him, put him in your slot. Then you need a guy that's physical. A guy
Yeah.
when he gets the ball in his hands, he gonna stiff arm you, truck you, break tackles. We need that. Give me Leggett. Give me Leggett. Give me Xavier Leggett. I need that in the second round. Pick him up. Get the tackle. Kingsley, Patrick Paul, don't matter. Get him. Then you give me Leggett. Give me Leggett. I either want a physical, big body receiver, or I want a tight end that's a separator, route runner, vertical threat type of guy. Those two, I need that. I need that. I need that. But I prefer Xavier Leggett though. I prefer him. 4.39 at that size.
For me, with the about the combine, some things that I pretty much focused on, keyed in on the first few days on the defense. I did look at the linebackers a little bit. There's the one guy that I actually like that I haven't heard too much about, but he's actually stood out in the drills to me. His last name ended in Deloach. I forgot what school he played for, and he was actually saw. I think he will be good on this team. Then also I also keyed in on the tight end position as well. Sinet stood out to me, as well as Sanders. So either or with that second pick, unless Kitchens is there, would work out on this team. And with the receivers, it's definitely definitely a deep class, and speed was there. There's a lot of speed from pretty much most of the receivers, especially in that second group. They stood out a little bit more to me than that first group. And then with the offensive tackles, they pretty much separate. They stole the show from the beginning. But one thing I do want to say with the offensive tackles, they do not need to keep letting them run the 40-yard dash every year. We done seen them train stuff. The 10-yard split is fine. But I don't believe they should keep letting the offensive tackles, offensive line go through the 40s. Like I think that just hurt the prospect.
Yeah, it was a weird amount of injuries this year from the offensive line group. That 10-yard split to a lot of people, I think that matters most because you're trying to see how fast they can get off the line and get to their blocks. What up, Divine, man? I ain't seen you in a minute. You up here talking about the Patriots, bro. I mean, this is a draft show, technically, episode, I would say, but you got a question about your Patriots, we can fill you up, bro.
How the Pats are going to win the next Super Bowl? Yeah, okay. You got to win your division first. The Bills won that the last 4 years straight, I think.
Them boys funny, man.
So if
But
there was something, what would y'all change at the combine? Like, is there any drills? If you could like take over the combine for 1 year, like what would you do so players don't sit out? Or how would you make it more interesting for fans to actually tune in each day?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, yeah. You know what I would be interested in? This may sound a little weird. I want to see the kickers and punters do something at the combine.
That'd
I
be
really,
different.
did they do something this year?
They
No.
do like the 40-yard dashes and all that stuff, but I don't see them. I'm saying them televised like kicking from certain. He trolled it. I'm talking about I'm talking about kickers who yo, I'm talking about kickers who they kick off from the 30, 40, 50. Like I'm to test their range. I mean, that can lower their draft stock a little bit, but hey, you got it, you got it. The punters, I guess you do something where it's like how much they can kick inside the 20. It's a little weird, but y'all get what I'm saying. Like we want to see the kicker's accuracy, their leg power, because kickers are very valuable. I don't know if y'all know, but you may need a new kicker.
Yeah, we definitely do.
He free agent? Slot free agent?
I don't know, but I told y'all that I don't know if you was in looking in the group chat, DT, but that stat about Sly. He's the worst extra point kicker in Washington history. He's bad at extra points. He's terrible. As far as field goal percentage, he's actually one of the best in franchise history, especially from 50 plus. That Eagles game, he kicked like what, 4 of them in a row Monday night. We beat them. So yeah, I want a new kicker.
And if I could change the combine a little bit, I would make it so more HBCU talent can be at the combine as well to get the more exposure. Another thing I would try to do maybe some one-on-one drills with maybe wide receiver versus cornerback. Maybe have like a scrimmage game with different groups, like so you can see each quarterback do more drills than just throwing certain routes. Maybe like a 5 or 10 minute scrimmage with their group to see how that works out. These are just little different things that I would implement to make it a little bit more interesting, so players don't keep coming out. So it's not as long. So all you don't hear most of the time is just interviews about the pre-draft and free agency. Bring a little bit more entertainment to it. Maybe best safety, maybe best wide receiver versus corner, just different combinations.
Yeah. To answer your question, Kingpin, what we gonna do? This is what I would do personally. I guess y'all can piggyback off whatever I say. I'm adding Michael Onwenu at guard, left guard. Brandon Sheriff may be a cap casualty. I'll pick him up. Yes.
But does he want to come back? That's the thing.
Hey, I'd offer him something. Offer him something affordable. Those two guys at tackle. I mean, Tyrone Smith is out there. I'll give him a 1-year deal though. I'm not giving him 2 to 3. I'm giving you a one year deal, 20 mil, maybe 22 around there. And I'm drafting a tackle. Or if you want to start a rookie left tackle, you can and get a veteran guard. But whoever we get at left guard or center, that's going to be pivotal for that rookie that you draft.
Do you think Wiley can produce at guard?
I mean, I'll give it a shot.
Kansas City, we seen him play solid at guard.
Yeah,
I think him against an edge rusher is a huge mismatch, and
yeah,
I think he can be more inside with a veteran tackle.
Yeah, yeah, true. I mean, it depends on what route you go. If you got Wiley at guard, then you get a veteran tackle. If you get a veteran guard, or if you get a rookie tackle, you got to go veteran guard. It offsets each other. We saw how Sam Cosmi performed when you got Brandon Sheriff right next to him in his rookie year. He was pretty damn good. He was like, oh shit, we got ourselves a tackle. And then when Brandon Sheriff left, you saw how that affected him. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. You get Tyrone Smith, I'll draft me a rookie guard. If you get a veteran guard like Onwenu, somebody, that's who I want, Michael Onwenu. He can play guard and tackle. So if something happens at the right tackle spot, you can slide him over. You may have to do a little shuffling or whatnot, but that's what I do. And also, I know we cut Nick Gates, but Ricky Stromberg out there too. I want to see him play, to be honest. But if they get a free agent center, which they can, because the Cowboys center is about to be a free agent soon, I think. So get one of those guys. That's what I do.
So for me, the offensive line is I'm trying to figure out, because I don't have a problem with signing a Tyron Smith for a 1-year deal, because a 1-year deal is just telling you, I don't see you as the long-term player. I just need you for short-term, and especially mentorship for some of the offensive linemen that we're potentially going to have. Mm-hmm. Now, I just feel like I think the question is going to be how good of this class is going to be, and you're talking about maybe 6 to 7 offensive linemen going in the first round, and there's possibly you might get the second tier, you might get like a Patrick Paul or Jordan Morgan might be there, or some guy like that. Are you willing to put them on the right side for 1 year, then you transition the next year, you have them on the left side? I think that's it could be an idea they'll try to do, but that Mims dude, Amarius Mims from Georgia,
dog.
I gotta get. I gotta get him.
Yeah.
Dog.
With DT, when you say that's a grown ass man, that is a grown ass man playing the tackle position.
Yes.
6'7", what is he, 320, 320,
He
330?
bigger than that, bro. Pause.
And what was his 40 time, Kayla? DT, I know, because
I
I
think
know
it
it's 40
was
time.
it was
For
507.
what? 507. Okay, I'll take that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I need that. And his bench press was what, like close to over 30 reps?
Yeah.
That's a grown ass man right there. Yeah, I need that too. I need that too. Put him at left tackle. yeah. And then you pull him in open space on screens along with my guard too. Yeah, give me that. Give me that. That's what I need.
Okay, so for me, for offensive line, if it was to start the season next year, um, of course, right guard Cosme. Next to him, I'll put a rookie, whether that's Patrick Paul or Kingsley from BYU or Jordan Morgan. One of those three will be the left tackle. Then I'll start Stromberg at center. On the other side, give me I like a few veterans. I'll give me a Wan Wu, and then next to him, give me Wiley, and then to actual our depth pieces for backup guard, give me Chris Paul, give me Cooper Beebe. Maybe they like Mason Brooks, and then you pick up another tackle late in the
Wait,
draft.
wait, 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 Kayla. You said Michael and Wynn, you at guard, and who at left tackle?
Tackle. I said a
Oh, at tackle.
tackle and
Okay.
Wiley at guard.
DC, I just wanted to make sure I heard what I heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to make sure I heard what I heard. Okay. All right, Kayla. Lonely said rank the old tackles. I got Olu first. I got Olu odd. Then I got Talise Fuega. You can put Mims in there. But people sleeping on Troy Fatanu
I was about to say Troy Fatano. He's solid too.
yeah. But I like Olu. Like we're at 2, ladies and gentlemen. But if I was at like 5, 6, I'm picking Olu. It's not even a question. It's not even a question. I'm picking Olu for sure. He's a mauler in the run game, and you can teach it. He's pretty good at pass blocking too. He reminds me of somebody that we used to have a little bit. Not saying they're the same player, but he reminds me of him a little bit. Just a little bit. But we had 2, so hey, I don't care about that no more. So
Okay, so back to the combine. So what are some players that stock didn't like went down based off their performance over the weekend?
uh
For me, I'm gonna go ahead and say Kalen King. I think
uh,
he didn't give himself do himself any favors at all. JJ McCarthy, I think his stock went down as well over the weekend.
you think JJ stock went down?
I
Well,
think so.
I don't think it's I don't think
And
it's
nationally, no. Personally, yes.
yeah,
I'll
I'm
put it
not
that way.
yeah, I'm not he's okay. Like he's okay. Like I told everybody, he's somebody that I'm sitting. Whoa. Yeah, take that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Take that comment out. Yeah, no.
So, DT, do you have a guy that may have been on your list that didn't? I know the combine, you can't put too much into it, but do you think there's a guy that was probably on your list that didn't perform that great at the combine?
Not really, to be honest with you. I didn't really see nobody just had like a huge drop. I mean, I know people talk about JJ, but to be honest with you, that's what I expected from JJ. Like JJ always had problems when it came to like the out routes and nines and stuff like that, because he constantly missed that because the amount of times he was asked to throw. So that wasn't surprising me at all. I mean, maybe Rattler. I mean, I thought Rattler was going to be like a 4.7, 4.6 guy. 4.9 is kind of crazy, but maybe he's more game speed. Really, to me, I don't. It's kind of hard to me to tell who Scott went down because it's underwear Olympics. I think they care more about the interview process and trying to figure out what type of person you are than really underwear. So my mind wasn't really thinking about the physical. I was just thinking about who the teams like as a person in those rooms more than what's going on the field.
So
Mm.
piggybacking off of that, so all out of the three quarterback prospects, which one, based off their media day, which one do you think that any what they say sway you a different direction in any of the three quarterback prospects of what they said or how they acted?
Well, they said Drake May um has been killing it in interviews. They say he's smart, yeah, film junkie, first one in, last one out type of thing. Yeah, y'all know the whole spiel. Jaden seems pretty cool, calm, and collected, which I fuck with that a little bit. You don't say too much. He let his actions, he let his football play speak for itself. So Caleb, same thing. Pretty cool, chill. I know people running off of what he said about us. He said, "Yeah, I would love to play for the Commanders." He started smiling. He smiled real hard. Ain't gonna lie, you know. Um, yeah, I mean, all what these prospects are saying and doing, it's their families helping them with that. Their agents are helping them with that. Like these are typical things that we tend to hear. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. This draft is gonna be really really fun. I think it's gonna be a lot of drama. Lot of drama. It already is already with this Justin Fields crap. So
Where will he end up? Nobody knows. So,
Um, I would say Drake, because Drake is the one person I didn't really know as a person, especially in the on the mic. I heard Jaden speak before. I heard Caleb speak before. Drake. That was the first time I listened to Drake being up in front, and I kind of got don't don't kill me when I say this, but some of his mannerisms are very similar to Sam. Pretty chill, pretty calm, collected. Talk very. He's that type of person like you can talk to, and he's very open. He has that little country sound from like he's from North Carolina. He sounds like he definitely from the Charlotte area, but I think from the reports that I've seen, I think he kind of caught the Bears off guard a little bit. He was saying like he felt like they didn't really know him like that. So I don't think that's going to be enough to convince them like, hey, you should take me number one. But I think with the due diligence, it let new light to understand, what Drake May type of person he is. So I would say Drake May because the other two quarterbacks, I have seen them all year speak in front of the podium. I was impressed with Jada a little bit, talking about Kingsbury and Dan Quinn and people.
okay. To me, like I honestly, I didn't really get too much from the media day from them. Like, I don't see what people keep on talking about Caleb. I just think they do that with every first round pick. They just find something to pick at. Like with his medicals, they try to throw that in our face. He gave them to the teams that he's working out with, which I honestly believe is smart. I think future people should do that as well. Um, if it happens, it happens. It don't, it don't. And then with Jaden, the questions around him, of course, he didn't test. But we knew the reason why he didn't test. Those are question marks around him. But how do y'all feel about Marvin Harrison missing out on his media day and not doing anything and not going to pro day or nothing?
that don't she knows she's gonna be the first wide receiver taken. So
But
I
do
was a
y'all
little
think sometimes that cockiness may like turn people off? If you can be
well
overconfident,
he's
well
cocky.
well I
that's
look at it
probably
like
overconfident.
this, Kale. Like I don't care how cocky you are, who you are as a person. I mean, I care, but at the end of the day, you care about winning football games. I don't care what you do in your personal life, respectfully. Whatever you do is what you do. It's your business. As long as you're winning me football games, that's all I care about. I don't care how cocky he is. If he's a diva, okay. If he's producing, he's producing. This the league is about production. That's what this league is
1,000%.
about. This league is about productions and wins. If he's helping me do that, I don't care how cocky he is. I don't care. Help me win games. If you can do that every Sunday, I'll gladly sign you. Gladly.
2,000%. And how do y'all feel about Mr. Speedy himself? This at the combine, everybody should know that Worthy from Texas broke his 40 time at 4.21. Do y'all think that'll translate into the NFL? Like, or it's like, do you think that speed can just translate, or do you think he could do more as a receiver? Like, how do y'all feel about Worthy? Do you think he gets drafted in the first round now because of the speed?
Mm, yeah, but like speed go crazy. Speed like that when you break a combine record, yeah, that's. But somebody told me in a space that will he ever what will he ever get to his top speed in game? He did that with no pads on. So with pads on, he'll probably run maybe a 4.28, maybe a high four,
4.3.
yeah, high 4.3. And it's very rare that you get to that top speed, and you could be fast as hell. If your ass can get pressed to the dirt, that speed don't matter no more. If you got a DB that can press you into the dirt and knock you off your route, that shit ain't not gonna matter. But he can work on that for sure. He can get stronger. He can work on his release. We saw that with Devontae Smith and what he's doing with Philly. People had concern about his size. He wasn't the fastest guy, but people had concern about his size. He's skinny, you know. And you seeing what he's doing in the league right now. So
So me with JJ McCarthy, I can honestly see him.
he's
All
not.
the smoke is even though I don't think it'll be a good fit, but I do think he will end up with the Giants, JJ McCarthy, because there's been a lot of smoke with them.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
him.
He's not a top 10 pick. Every year you have that player that gets boosted, and he's going to get a lot of traction. Um, Saying he's going to a top 3 QB prospect. Yeah, okay. He's not. Like he's at best he's 4 for me. I'll probably put him at 4 or 5, just based on what I like in a quarterback. I still got Penix over him, but
Because of the injuries and stuff, they're not going to, the team probably.
injuries, age. Now we talk about this all the time. How good do you think Penix can be at the next level? He's what? He's about to turn 24, right? Or he's already 24. He's about to
His
turn 20.
birthday's coming up.
Yeah,
Yep.
so he'll be 24 when he goes to a team. How? What's his ceiling? That's what I'm questioning. I'm
Yeah,
not
I can see
questioning who he.
Penix fitting in like a Minnesota if they get rid of Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins. I can
I'm
see
not.
him
I'm not
fitting in
questioning him as.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm not questioning him as a player or a prospect. My thing is, how good can you be, or how good can you be? We already know that you're really good, but how
But can
good
you
can you?
elevate?
Yeah, how good can you really be at the next level when you're 27, 28? You going to get better, or is this what you already are right now, or is your ceiling just a tad bit higher? With JJ, I see he's not a starter day one, not a top 10 pick. He'll most likely go in the first round just because he's a quarterback, and it's going to be a lot of quarterback needy teams this year. But
Yeah, I
nah,
can see the Giants taking a swinger on him at 6.
yeah, I will laugh. That would be a terrible pick for them.
Absolutely, but I can see it because they've been linked a little bit, and then watching JJ talks to some of the coaches with the Giants. I can see it. I can definitely see it. Right move, no, but I can definitely see it.
My thing with JJ is he played at Michigan, and the type of the style of offense was very run heavy, play action, and so he wasn't asked to throw the ball 35 times a game majority. I think he's only thrown the ball 30 times, maybe at least 3 times a time. In Michigan, maybe there's a lot of times he's only thrown the ball 8 times because some of the inconsistencies show up. So, but he's a young player that has the physical traits that you want in a quarterback. Good zip on the ball, arm talent, mobility, processing. He played under center, so that's a plus for him as well. Do I personally think he's a top 10 pick? No, but I think there are some things that you can see that are translatable to the NFL. And to me personally, I think he will have a great career. I think it's all about the situation he'll go to and try to elevate his play so he does not be a game manager. Could he be maybe 4,000 yard passer? No, but I think he has the traits to, and it's all about working on the little things that had been an issue for him, like missing on those out routes, missing on the 9 balls and stuff like that. And even a point as to when he was talking to the Commanders and they asked him a question of like if they were for you to audible to a go ball, would you be able to do it? And he basically, I'm paraphrasing here, basically said like, no, because he wasn't asked to do all that. So it's going to be a little bit of a process for him, but I definitely see the reason why he's getting the hype. But me personally, I don't think he's a top 10 pick, but he will be going to top 10 because those traits are what people love.
Yeah, I was watching a YouTube video and the guy broke down every quarterback prospect. It's an hour-long video, but it's really worth it. If y'all want the link, I can send it to you. The way he described JJ McCarthy is he had no comp for him. He said he's literally a ball of clay. That's what he literally is. You could you don't know what's there to work with. I mean, there's some physical traits for him, the mobility. The arm strength is good enough in the NFL that there's some quarterbacks in the league who are really good, but they have bottom 10 arm talent. Jalen Hurts is one of those guys. Joe Burrow doesn't have crazy arm talent. His superpower is his mental capacity in the game, while he's in the game.
That's true.
Yeah, but, JJ, you sit, let him learn, then you ease him into the offense. I think he has to go to a team that everything is perfect for him. Maybe Niners. You got a team like the Vikings. The Vikings could actually use him, to be honest.
I think Penix would be a better fit. I think Penix would be a better fit for Minnesota.
Yeah. I think Penix will still be a better fit. I'm just saying, like certain teams where he has a number one target, he has a running back, he has a pretty good O-line.
Why not Seattle? I mean, his offensive coordinator from Washington is in Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle could work too. I always thought Penix going to Seattle. Penix going to Seattle was crazy. That would be crazy.
The thing about that is with Penix's age, and he's already an older quarterback. He'll probably have to sit another year, which will probably have to push his development back a little bit. Do you think?
You can't sit.
Do you think they start Geno? Do you think they start Penix over Geno?
I don't know, but I wouldn't. If you draft Penix, to me it's a waste if you just let him sit. He'll be 25 years old.
But didn't they say they wanted Geno to start this year? So
sure.
He would have to sit.
I'm not saying he.
We wanted him to start, but there was always a sense that eventually they were going to try to find their quarterback of the future. I mean, he had one good year. Then this year it was kind of, but I know he was injured a little bit, and even like Drew Lock came in and had a couple of good spurts. So I think the system and the structure is there for the quarterbacks to succeed. I think Penix can come in immediately, especially with an offensive coordinator. He already knows the language, and he can just go in guns flying.
Mm-hmm. Everything's perfect for him. He got 3 receivers. He got a solid running back. You got 2 solid tackles. You insert a guard in there. Yeah. It could get a little nasty over there in Seattle.
Because we know with the 49ers, as talented as we know, sometimes they do struggle a little bit in the secondary. You get a guy of high quality passer like Penix with those wide receivers on the outside, he could do damage, man. I think that'll be a great fit for Penix to go to Seattle and stay.
So that means Drew Lock is gone? So they cut Drew Lock?
He's possibly gone. I think Drew Lock will probably find somewhere else and back up somebody or be a bridge quarterback eventually for another team.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And another player that people are, I don't say hyping up, but I watched him in college a little bit. But over the combine, he did have a few passes, and now people are trying to get a little higher on him. Joe Milton, with his arm, everybody knows he has a strong arm. It's pretty much almost as strong as Caleb's, maybe even a little bit stronger. But I don't think he's a day 1 pick or day 2 pick.
Got you.
This game.
So, it's that time of the show. Everybody's been waiting for this. We are now going to introduce you, Mr. Bill Carroll, a Draft Central. Mr. Carroll, how you doing, man?
It's been a long day, but I get to finish it talking football, so it's a good day.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
How you doing, Bill? How you doing,
I'm
man?
doing extremely well. Had a great week. Some of quote unquote my guys had a great time. Got to talk to Ryan Flournoy again. Kid I've been following since he's in high school. It was great to see him, as I say, get his flowers at the combine. He had a terrific Senior Bowl week also. I'm a big fan of Dylan Lobby. He had I think, a good showing at the combine. A lot of the guys that I like had a good showing, so I was happy about that. But here's what you learn when you've been doing this for a while. There'll be people who try to tell you the combine doesn't matter, and there'll be people who try to tell you the combine is everything. And of course, as always is the case, the truth is somewhere in between.
Yeah.
When you're building a house, you don't just put together a roof and say, I have a house. You don't just put together a deck and say I have a house. You don't just put together stairs and say I have a house. You have to have everything put together. Mm-hmm. Talent evaluation is the same thing. Your foundation is film study. But you can't just have a foundation. That's not a house. And the most fun and exciting part of it can be, at least for some of us, breaking into the scheme stuff and saying, okay, this guy plays shuffle bail, but can you do this? This guy does this. Can you do that? And so sometimes you have to just humble yourself and reach out to coaches, right? Not every coach is willing to talk to you about what they teach, but some will. And guess what? It's just like when the prettiest girl at the dance, she might or she might not dance with you. The only way to find out is to ask her. Same thing with players and coaches. You have to ask them, hey, coach, I noticed that so-and-so is playing this way. Did you ever play him in the boundary? And if not, why not? And some will be like, who are you? Why are you bothering me? But some of them will answer your questions. You don't know till you try. So my little mini lesson is shoot your shot. If there's a coach on a team that you want to ask a question of, follow them on Twitter, follow them on Instagram, follow them whatever, and then just straight up ask them. And some of them will ignore you. I'm gonna let you know straight up. But some of them will answer your question. And shout out to Coach Tony DeMeo, and shout out to some of the other coaches that have been so kind as to share a lot of information about what they do, why they do it, and how they do it over the years. But you want to dig into not just what a player can't do, but what a player can do. We're at this point in the process where we're in what I call the playoffs. If you're a talent evaluator, this is the playoffs. You made it through the regular season, right? Right. In fact, you made it to the first round of the playoffs. We're in the second round of the playoffs. We got Senior Bowl and East-West. That's the first round of the playoffs. Right now, you've made it through the combine. At this point, you should have your 200, 300, how many players you've evaluated. You should have at least 6 games, with a few exceptions, that you've watched. Maybe not all in 1 year, maybe over 2 years. And then you've graded them out. Okay, here's what I noticed. This player is great against this, right? Some players, you notice that when people bull rush them, boom, they stone them, right? If you stone Talisi Fuaga, if you bull rush Talisi Fuaga, you might as well be bull rushing a wall or a stone or the earth, right? What are you doing? Why? You're wasting your time. You're just getting some cardio. You have to know what works against what players. I've only seen Fuaga get beaten maybe a couple times, and it was the same thing. Counter back inside, right? You get him going one way, and then boom, back inside. If you don't have a counter back to the inside move, you're not getting any business done against Mr. Fuaga, right? Fontenot is a guy that's been very, very popular lately, and he's such a smooth mover, right? The way I fell in love with Christian Gonzalez last year at the corner position, I fell in love with Troy Fontenot because he moves like a 300 plus pound ninja, right? Shout out to the late Chris Farley. But this guy actually does move like a literal 300 plus pound ninja. He's so light on his feet.
It's like a dancing bear. That's what he is.
It's ridiculous how smooth this guy is. It's crazy. So people say, how much does a player elevate or hurt themselves from the combine? You've pretty much finished the grading. If you're a professional football team, you're pretty much done grading players. The things that can really affect you at the combine aren't the stuff you see on field anyway. Well, unless it's an injury, right? Somebody gets hurt at the combine. But it's the medicals, right? Like a guy like Penix won, not because of anything he did is that you saw. It's the medicals came back cleaner than people expecting. Mm-hmm. No one found nerve damage. No one found a bunch of accreted scar tissue in his joints. That was the biggest win for Michael Penix. Because when you've had not one, not two, but 3 season-ending injuries, you're not nervous about anything else with the medicals, right? Because his tape is great. He's a smart kid. He's super hardworking. He's a good enough athlete. The one thing that could really hurt him is if they come back and says, "Ooh, degenerative," right? That's the words you don't want to hear.
Gotcha.
Arthritic, degenerative, like those are words that like that's when a person drops at the combine. Some off the field thing comes to fore, like, oh, turns out you did this terrible thing that we didn't know about before. That can tank your stock. That's how someone can go from, all the way to undrafted, depending on what it is you did. But the combine itself moves you a few spots. If you have an amazing combine, moves you up a few spots, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots, maybe. I mean, if you have a terrible combine, yeah, go ahead.
I got a question for you, Bill. So,
fire away.
Washington, we're in the position to protect what we get at 2. So, of course, all the top tackles will be gone, pretty much. Fuega gone, Alt gone. Mims will probably be gone realistically. Baton will probably be gone by pick 36. But without that next group with Kinsley, Patrick Paul, out of that group of guys, a few other guys, who do you think would be the best fit for us?
Let me
Jordan
give you
Morgan.
a name. Let me give you a name that isn't being discussed enough. Christian Jones.
Kristen Jones.
I'm giving you a name that isn't being discussed nearly enough. So this is a kid who's a Jamaican American, grows up playing soccer, and you can see it when you watch his feet. He's 307 or whatever pounds now, but when you watch him move, this is what I love. Guys who grow up playing a small man sport, but then become big men. That's why when you watch Ndamukong Suh, right? What was his first sport? Soccer. You watch these guys who are 300 whatever pounds who grew up till they were 12, 13, 14 years old. Their first sport was soccer. They still keep all that foot quickness. That doesn't leave you. That your neural pathways have learned how to move your lower body at an extremely high rate of speed, and thus stacking on the extra whatever pounds slows you down a little bit because you're so much bigger, but your body still remembers firing off that quickly. Christian Jones has a lot of upside potential. He's a hard worker, high character kid, and hasn't had any severe injuries, which is another thing I like when a guy hasn't, ever had to miss a bunch of games because of injury. Watch out for him. He could probably play either on the left side or the right side. You might start him on the right and later maybe he grows into playing the left side. But go back and watch his tape at Texas. And you're going to see, does he get beat? Yes, right. He definitely gets beat. Does he let guys into his chest too often? Yes. But it's all fixable stuff. It's all technique. None of it's physical. None of it's him not being fast enough, not being strong enough. Remember when Luke Jokel was like quote unquote, shooting up the boards or whatever? Yeah. And the problem with Luke Jokel, he was this amazing technician. He was this amazing kid, terrific young man. Like, the old line about the kind you want your daughter to bring home, all that stuff. But he had frankly, a weak lower body. It showed up in his vertical. It showed up in his broad jump testing. And you could watch it on tape. When he struggled, it was when somebody just came straight at him. He was terrific as long as he could get on the move, or as long as he could use all that great technique he had to redirect you. But if you came straight at him and he had to anchor, no, sir. So you have to say to yourself, what are the things I can live with and what are the things I can't live with? At any offensive line position, if the one thing that works best against you is bull rushing and people figure that out, there's not a whole lot you can do. Technique doesn't really, you can work on certain things like redirecting that'll help a little bit. But if you are constantly just being overpowered because you have a weak lower body, even if you become the world's best technician, at some point, I hate to put it this way, but sometimes football just eventually comes down to who's the person who's more able to force their physical will on the other person. If you are a 300-pound person who's got a lower body like a 250-pound person, the person who's a 300-pound person with a lower body like a 327-pound person is going to win most of the time. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of freakish lower body athletes amongst the defensive tackles this year. I don't know if you noticed, there's a lot of tackles jumping 34, 35 inches, but they're 297, 315 pounds. That is one, not at all normal. And two, indicative that, once again, these guys that grew up playing basketball, right? A lot of these guys are, 6'4" and 300 plus pounds, but they were hoopers till they were 14, 15 years old. And so their body still retains all that information about how to explode upwards. And that you can, like, once again, if you want to bull rush somebody, you're taking all that explosion and just turning it slightly this way and going into somebody else. If that person doesn't have the ability to anchor, guess where they're going? Right into your quarterback.
Yeah.
So what quarterback do you think fits Washington at 2?
Well, I mean, I know people are afraid of Drake May because first of all,
Be honest.
Here we go.
Don't scout helmets, people. Don't scout helmets.
Say that one more time, Bill.
Don't scout helmets. Stop doing it. Remember,
Everybody's comparing him to Sam.
Yeah. But Sam would tell you he's not Sam, and Drake would tell you he's not Sam too. But here's what I'm gonna tell you. Remember, everybody said, "Oh, C.J. Stroud's gonna be a bust," not because of anything he actually did, but why? Because he went where, people?
Ohio State.
Is that not the dumbest thing you've ever heard?
Yeah.
And what's Coleridge Bernard Stroud IV doing right now? Rewriting the NFL record book. Only had the greatest rookie season of all time. Stop scouting helmets. Watch the player. Ignore the uniform. Ignore the home field. Watch what the player can and can't do. Mm-hmm. Okay, so things you like about Drake May. That kid will stare right down it and take it in the chops all day long. Now, you don't want him getting hit that much, but it doesn't seem to bother him one teeny tiny bit. And I don't care if you care. Some teams care about size more than others, but he's one of the few full-size quarterbacks in the whole class. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's kind of in terms of pure size, I think the average, when I average out the whole class, was something like 6'2" and 3/8 or 6'2" and a quarter, something like that, and about 211 and a half pounds. He's a legit, just short of 6'4". He's 6'3" and 5/8, and he's 223 pounds with frame to put on another 10 pounds easily. So you're talking about one of the few full-size quarterbacks in the whole class. If you care about that, some teams don't, but some teams do. His arm is special. He has a special arm. He can make wow throws. One of my favorite pictures of Sam Howell, in fact, is of him watching Drake May in practice when Sam was still there as a starter and Drake was backing him up, and he's watching Drake make a throw. He's going, I mean, Drake May makes throws that make you make ugly faces. He can make you make ugly faces. He is a very good athlete. I wish he had done everything. And once again, I'm not an agent. I don't want to step on agents' toes, but sometimes they do too much. If they had let Drake May go there and do everything, he might be the talk of the combine because he was going to jump about 35 and a half, 36 inches. Watch his basketball reel. Watch his basketball reel.
Yeah, he can ball.
Watch his high school basketball reel. Definitely. It's kind of sick. The last time I saw a quarterback prospect with a basketball reel that legit was probably Drew Lock coming out of Lee's Summit, Missouri. Those two guys were legitimate D1 basketball prospects. Wake Forest was going to bring him there to play both sports. Wake Forest is not exactly Tim Duncan, Chris Paul, like that's not a podunk school when it comes to basketball. Mm-hmm. They were recruiting him for both sports at Wake Forest.
So we do got time for 2 more questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you a question, Bill, when it comes. We literally just talked about this a few minutes ago. Sure. The wide receiver room. Curtis Samuel is going to be a free agent. You look at Washington's receivers. Curtis Samuel is going to be he made test free agency. Sure. Last year we had the top. It was top 3. I know it was top 3 fastest receiver rooms in the NFL. Of course,
and you can get faster if you want to.
Yeah, you can. So the reason why I brought that up is, but DT and Kayla already know, and people on the app already know. I like a receiver room where you got guys that can do multiple things. So Terry, like I said, he can do a little bit of everything. Jahan, he's your technician. He's a little bit of a technician, route runner. He can be a gap guy. I personally want Xavier Legette. Who do you think?
Okay. So I don't dislike Xavier Legette. Now I'm going to give you one quick sort of warning. He doesn't have the world's greatest hands. He doesn't have the world's greatest ability to track the ball. So that's the one sort of problem. He traps the ball against his body a fair amount. He doesn't track the ball as well as like in that top tier. He's in that second tier. So he's going to have to be used in a way where he doesn't have to do this. See this? He's not that. That's not his thing. That's not his jam. He needs to be doing this, right? If the ball's coming at him, he's got a decent shot. He's just not great at this. You can tell which guys grew up playing baseball, right?
So you think he's more of a slot guy?
I mean, he can be your speed Z. He can be your speed Z. The thing is, you gotta kind of break inwards towards the ball so you can get a good look at it. That's the only thing I'll say. If he's got to do this, it's more of a 50. Then it is a 50-50 ball, like 50% chance he'll catch it. Here's what I like about him though. He's unafraid of contact, right? He kind of likes a little bit of. He likes it rough, right? He doesn't mind if you want to play rough. He's down. He's down to clown.
He's physical. He is physical.
Oh, he's down to clown. He'll embrace special teams even. Like he's one of those guys that doesn't mind the rough stuff. Like I said, he likes it. Like that's his thing. He's good after the catch, and I think he's a reps guy. And what I mean by that is you're gonna be a little nervous the first couple of days of practice when you get him. It's like, oh no, right? You're gonna be a little because he just takes him a while to get kind of settled in. This is true early in the season. Watch him his first couple of games of the season, like, oh no, and then he gets slowly better. At the Senior Bowl, his first 2 practices were not good, but he got better. So you've got to have some stomach if you take him early, right? Because you're gonna feel like maybe I blew it at first, like, oh, that's a fair number of drops. I don't like that, and then he'll get better. Oh yeah, J.C. Latham.
Because the reason why I asked that, Bill, because Cliff Kingsbury offense, I think it's going to benefit Terry a lot. A lot of goal ball is going to benefit him greatly. So I personally want a receiver in this class. What receiver do you think can fit Washington?
Well, sure. And once again, I'm going to admit that I'm biased because I've watched this guy for years, but I think Ryan Flournoy is going to be one of the great steals of this draft class. One of the great steals of the draft. Listen to me. He's going to be one of the great steals. You can get him in day 3, and you're going to be like, how did he last this long when you get him in camp? He's older. That's the one thing I'll say. He's another 6th-year guy because of the extra COVID year, so he's going to be 24 years old. If you're okay with that, he's got everything else. He's a route runner. He's, once again, embraces special teams. He's, I think, 202, 201. I mean, he's not tiny, but he's not huge. But he plays bigger than he measures because he's got huge hands, 10-inch hands. He snags the ball easily out of the air. Good on the run. Ran in the mid 4.5s and can jump. Another guy who's got that big vertical. So he plays bigger. He can play any of the positions also. You can put him in the slot. You can put him at Z. You can put him at the X. And you mentioned getting faster. I'm gonna give you a tight end too, Theo Johnson.
Yes.
Obviously, you just moved on from the legend, the Logan legend. So
That's wild. That's wild.
I was thinking either him, Bill, or I personally like Ben Sinnott. I like him a lot too.
I like Ben Sinnott too, but he's not as good after the catch. So it depends on what you like. Here's what Ben Sinnott gives you though, that versatility, right? He's a guy that can
H-back, fullback.
Right. And he embraces the violence. I mean, that's the thing where he's got over Theo. Theo's a little more, he's not finesse. I mean, Penn State, ran to his side. So he can put it on people, but he's not a guy that he's not a neck roll guy, right? Ben Sinnott's like an old school neck roll guy. Ben Sinnott's going to give some people some concussions. He's old school. Like he's that guy. He's a guy who's looking to get a flat back and right. So there's a couple of tight ends that are like old school tight ends in this class, but Theo is the guy who's going to be that seam stretcher. You want somebody to run those over routes, those post corners, right, and beat a safety with second gear speed, like run away from safeties. That's your guy.
Okay, so DT, you got a question? Then I'm gonna close out with my last question.
Yeah, so kind of a 2-part question. So, question I have is with Washington going to this air raid system, Brian Robinson is going to be the starting running back. I do think they need a change of pace style back that's kind of similar to what we had with J.D. McKissick. So is there a running back that can provide that type of skill set to complement Brian Robinson?
This is the draft for third down backs. Now, if you want a 230-pound pounder, the pickings have got to slim, right? There's only a couple of full-size running backs. But if you want I mean, Dylan Lobby, right? That guy catches the ball like a wide receiver. I mean, there's a but actually that's the thing. There's mostly in this class. To be perfectly honest, it's bigger backs. Those guys are going to go. Teams that want those may have to take them a little earlier because there's only a couple of guys over 220 pounds in the whole class. And then even between 215 and 220, there's only about 5 or 6 that are pretty good. And over 230, it's like Braylon Allen, end of list. So, and there's like one kid from the MAC too, but that's like it. Like the big backs are hard to come by in this class. But little backs, quick backs, guys who can catch the ball, you've got some choices actually.
There was one guy that I saw the other day at the combine, started with a G. He was a running back. That was pretty
there's
shifty.
a few of them. Hold on. I'm trying to think of the guy who was but yeah, there's a bunch of little quick backs that can catch the ball. I was trying to think of the one I'm trying to remember. Hold on, I'll tell you exactly who. Tyrone Tracy, right? The quick little dude from Purdue, catches the ball beautifully. Will Shipley kind of sort of fits the bill, but he'll probably go a little earlier than you may want to spend. Garindo's partner in crime at Louisville, Jawar Jordan, who didn't have quite the day I was expecting, but his poor combine performance will pay off for you because he'll be there deep into day 3, and he plays faster than any time. Somebody else who catches the ball really well. Actually, Cody Schrader even catches the ball well. I mentioned my guy, Dylan Lobby. He's a made-to-order third down back. Emory Bailey from TCU. In fact, Rasheen Ali got hurt, unfortunately, at the Senior Bowl. Tore a bicep, wasn't able to work out at the combine, but that's a guy. Oh, let me give you, though, one of my deep sleepers, and he is going to be so much better than people understand. Listen to me now and hear me later. Jaden Sheardon from Monmouth. He ran in the mid-4.4s, had a terrific day, catches the ball well, has some work to do in blitz pickup. Like, he has the heart for it. He just has to work on technique. But he'll do it. And once again, he's, shorter. They're all short, with the exception of a couple of guys. They're all short, right? It's a bunch of guys 5'9", 5'10", 5'8", 5'7", even in some cases. But he's not little. He's just short. And he's over 200, right around 200 pounds, even though he's shorter. He's got lower body pop. He's just got to work on it technique-wise because they'd send him out more than keeping him in. So he didn't do a lot of blocking. But when you got to the East-West Shrine game, you could see like he had the effort was there. He just needed to tweak a few things. But yeah, Jaden Sheardon, watch out for him.
Okay, here's the last question. Oh, go ahead.
I did have one more question. So obviously, the news kind of coming out about Cam Carroll is more than likely. Well, to them they say he's gone, but more than likely he's going to be testing the free agent market.
Correct.
Do you think there is a safety in this draft that you can consider and comp just like Cam Carroll?
Evan Williams from Oregon, sort of an old school safety. In fact, at the Senior Bowl, they had to pull him aside because the first couple of days they were going to what's called thud, which means you're not taking guys to the ground. And apparently the only person who didn't get the memo was Evan Williams, who was out there hitting people like he was mad at him. So they had to pull him aside and be like, okay, son, I get what you're trying to do here. Like, we get it, but no, like, tone it down. But he's instinctive. He's an average athlete, which what is true of Cam Carroll also, if you like that, if you're okay with that. So he's not a freak athlete, not a terrific athlete, not even above average. He's dead on average at the position athletically, but his instincts help. And like I said, he's another guy who's down to put it on people in a way that they do not enjoy at all. So if you're looking for a guy that's an old school hitter who can play the deep middle, but can also walk up near the line of scrimmage and is not at all afraid of mixing it up, Evan Williams, Oregon.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and close it out with this, Bill. 2-part question. So
Okay.
after the combine, what are some players that actually, I know people like Stock didn't, like, what are some players teams should stay away from? Not stay away from them, but Stock kind of went down a little bit. And also, where can people follow you to close it out?
Okay. Well, I don't really believe that anybody who shows up and works out the combine can hurt themselves by anything they do on the field. Very rarely do you see something different from what a player really is if you know what you're looking at. So if you think a guy's fast and he just turns out to be fast, like some people I heard sort of freaking out about Cameron Kitchens. If you watch Cameron Kitchens, you thought he was at the fastest maybe 4.57, If he runs in the mid to low 4.6s, that's not that different. But I thought he ran almost exactly what I thought he'd run. So if you were fooled, that's not the player, that's you. But if a player shows up, the only thing that to me, once again, truly hurts a player, one, medicals. If it comes back that, oh, wait, you had this injury we didn't know about, or it was more severe than we knew. If you blow it in interviews, like you come off disinterested or arrogant or not very smart, that legitimately can hurt you. Now, you don't usually tend to hear about that stuff except through back channels. If you make friends with scouts, you'll sometimes hear who they liked and who they didn't like, especially, if you're there and you buy somebody a couple of drinks, just, free game. If you go there, find the bars where the scouts go to and offer to buy somebody a drink and we'll see where it takes you. But generally the actual on-field stuff matters. It matters, but it doesn't hurt or help a player as much as people think. It really doesn't. Medicals, the stuff that comes back from background investigations into stuff you may have done, that can really hurt you. And
so
like
is there
I said,
an overhyped prospect?
There's lots of overhyped prospects.
You could pick one. You could pick one, and then what's your social media?
I mean, okay, Caleb Williams is a very good football player, but when you start comparing somebody to Patrick LeVon Mahomes II, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
He's a really good football player. He's had a really good career. And once again, people get mad at me. Now, here's why I'm gonna explain this. When I say he's more like Jeff Blake at East Carolina than he is at Pat Mahomes at Texas Tech, I'm gonna explain what I mean by that. First of all, people say, "Oh my God, how can you say that?" Well, I saw Jeff Blake in person at East Carolina. He was ridiculously good. But remember, this is when 6'1" black quarterbacks weren't what the NFL was in love with. So the fact that he got a chance to play and played for a while in the league tells you how good he was, because there was a strong prejudice against short black quarterbacks in those days. So the fact that he went going in the 5th round in those days is like going in the early 2nd now, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So I need people to remember that when they freak out when I say Jeff Blake. Plus, Jeff Blake's one of the greatest. I've been watching this game since 1972. And Jeff Blake has one of the best deep balls I've ever seen. Ever. And that's one of the things I also like when I watch Caleb Williams. And while there's things he needs to work on, like you don't have to throw every ball off your back foot. You're allowed to set your feet. And you don't have to try to make every play into a big play. Now, some of that he roll balls because he was encouraged to do it and because things broke down a lot at USC. I get that. But there are also times when he had 6 to 8 free yards right in front of him and he just didn't take it. So he's got to work on some stuff. Yeah. But he's going to be a really good football player. But just to compare him to Patrick LeVon Mahomes, second, stop it.
My comp for him, Bill, and I know we're about to close. I want to get this off. I just want to ask you one quick thing, and then we can move on. My comp for Mahomes is, you made this. I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, but my comp for him is Kyler Murray. That's my comp for him because
I've heard worse. Yeah.
Well, the only reason why
you're comp for Mahomes or comp for Caleb Williams?
No, Caleb Williams. Okay.
Yeah, you said
yeah. My bad for Caleb Williams. my bad. Yeah, that's my comp for Caleb is Kyler, just because. I guess the stature, the way they move around. Caleb Williams is a very good runner. I really think he's a very good runner. We saw that at Oklahoma when he scored that 70-yard touchdown run, or even when he has these 40, 50-yard runs from time to time. That's my comp for him. That may be a weird comp, but that's my comp for him. My last question for you is, what's the gap between Jaden and Drake May for you? Jaden Daniels and Drake May.
It's not a huge gap. These guys have similar strengths and weaknesses, but as we pointed out, Jaden was in a much better situation, right? There's ludicrous talent surrounding him. Now, I don't dock him for that, but it just means that when he throws up a 50-50 ball, it's not a 50-50 ball, right? When he throws a ball up, when you look at the guys he's playing with, it's an 80-20 ball. So he's got a really good chance. And if things are all broken down, he just floats the ball up there to those guys. It's probably going to work out. Obviously, Drake May didn't have that same sort of situation. He didn't have the offensive line also that LSU had. Jaden is a guy that I've watched from literally his first start when he was at Arizona State. It was super exciting, and people started comparing him to Lamar. People stopped doing this. But people start comparing him to Lamar because everybody has to make the maximum comparison. You don't get extra points for difficulty on comparisons, people. Keep it simple. But he is not that, but he's a good athlete. He is a good athlete, not Lamar, but a good athlete. And the only thing he really has in common with Lamar is that I want him to put some weight on his lower body. That's what I need. I need both. Well, Lamar's done it. He's put on some weight in his lower body, but I need Jaden to, oatmeal and protein powder and all that good stuff. Peanut butter jelly sandwiches, all those things, raw eggs, like Rocky does, but whatever.
There's a weird stat, Bill, where it's for Jaden Daniels, there's only been 6 good seasons of a quarterback to play under 205 pounds. And 5 of those quarterbacks was Kirk Cousins, which is a weird stat.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right.
Oh.
So yeah, I want him to not just visit the weight room, but stay. And I think he'll be fine as well. I think once again, situation is so important. If somebody just throws almost any of these guys out there day one, it's going to be problems. I think Penix may be the one who's most, because he plays so much football and he's such a mature kid. I say kid, man, at this point. He might be able to handle it. Most of these guys, if you just throw Caleb out there, unless you, I don't know. I feel like people are overestimating how ready most of these guys are to play. I think that particularly the top 2 need some time to sit. I need these time to sit and watch. I know it's not popular, especially nowadays. They'll have guys sit and watch, but I think those top 2 guys particularly should sit and watch. JJ McCarthy also. You throw him out there right away, you've got problems. Even at Michigan, as talented as he was, they put a person who was not as talented out there because they knew he wasn't ready. And Michigan fans hated it. Like, okay, we see it. Where did they go? Where did we get Jay? Because they heard all the stories about what he's doing in practice, but they kept trotting out a less talented player who was more ready. Sometimes you have to be patient. You can ruin a young quarterback by putting them out there too soon. But the way I feel is if you take any of the younger guys, these guys who are 21, 20 years old, I mean, J.D. McCarthy is literally not legal to drink yet. You need to be careful how you handle them. Now, some of these guys are 24 years old, like Penix, right? Bo Nix. I mean, these guys have been. These guys can rent a car without a cosigner. That's a different deal. They're a little more. Some of these guys have played. I think one of them set a record, right? 61 starts. That's a record. Broke Kellen Moore. Broke Kellen Moore's record, I believe. So they're more ready to play, but they have less upside. Jaden has a good enough arm. It's not special, but it's a good enough arm. He's a better than average athlete. I would like to see him get bigger and stronger, which I'm sure he'll do. And could he be a slightly more dynamic version of Tyrod Taylor? Yes, I think that's what he could do.
It's like a RG3, maybe Randall.
RG3 was world class. Literally, he was a junior Olympic champion in the hurdles. So no, he's not like RG3. Okay, but like I said, Tyrod ran in the mid 4.5s. I think that's probably what Jaden would have run if he'd actually tested.
So okay. Caleb, I'm so sorry. What? I'm sorry, Caleb. So when you look at Jaden Daniels' athleticism and Drake May's, how big is the gap to you?
That's a funny question. So in straight line speed, I'm going to give a slight edge to
Jaden.
But in first of all, strength, because strength to me is still part of being an athlete. I'm giving the edge, obviously, to Drake May. Drake May makes some throws with people hanging all over him, which I don't know if Jaden can do. And then, that boy can jump. I know people say white boys can't jump. That white boy can jump. He has some spectacular, not dunk contest dunks. In-game dunks, right? Where he puts a move on somebody and he's got hops. So he's sudden, right? He may not run sub 4.6, but I bet his 10 is probably faster. While Jaden needs to build up a little bit.
Okay.
He's explosive. He's an explosive athlete. Like once again, when I say I think he might have had a 36-inch vert, I feel confident saying it was probably at least 36 inches. He's that kind of athlete. In terms of change of direction, slight edge to Jaden. And then in terms of just toughness, nose, near the end zone, I'm gonna give a slight edge to Drake. I think he's able to kind of push through a tackler a little better near the end zone, at least so far, than Jaden, who, is desperately trying to put on 12 more pounds.
Oh, okay. So this has actually been an amazing episode of Command Time. You can follow Caleb on Twitter at CAL.
No, CXLEBJXS.
Why you just let Caleb do it? Yeah?
You can also follow DT at D Cleveland Jr. and our special guest Bill Carroll at 11 Bravo 138 of Draft Central.
Yes.
And also next week we will be free agency begins. Tampering period is on the 11th, and the free agency period start on the 13th. So we will be getting into free agency next week. And don't forget, you can follow me also, KCow09
Yes.
on Twitter. And don't forget, it's never the Eagles' time. It's never the Giants' time. Most definitely never Dallas' time. But it's always Command time.
May I say something real quick before you go?
Yes, sir.
So Draft Central is tomorrow night. And that's 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific. We will be breaking down quarterbacks. We'll be joined by the one, the only czar of the Telestrator, Mr. Emery Hunt. And it'll be a fantastic episode as well. So if you like this kind of thing but want more of it, please join us tomorrow night.
No, I will definitely be tapped in. Y'all stay safe out there.
All right. This is Command presented by the Fan Sports Network. You guys have a great night, and we will see you guys next week as we get ready for the legal tampering period and what things Washington are going to do for this offseason. Y'all have a great night.
Yeah, everybody get their legal tamper on.
Sir.
Got me feeling so free.